A great turnout. It was interesting when I was on KFAN on Thursday. They kept me on for an hour, and a lot of great phone calls in, and I was kind of curious to see what kind of turnout we were going to have, but it is great to see. A lot of people think I have the best job in hockey, and I tell them, I think I have the second best job in hockey. The best job is being the head coach at an orphanage. No parents to deal with. But I think I really have a pretty unique experience with this as well. I've coached, lived in Alaska, I've coached, lived in Colorado, and now I'm back to Minnesota. And I look back at some of my roots and how I got involved in the game. I grew up in a small town called Big Fork. Most of you probably have never heard of it, just north of Grand Rapids. And when I moved to Grand Rapids, I was 9 years old in third grade. I'd never skated before. But I was thrown in a neighborhood with kids who played hockey, played multiple sports, played basketball through sixth grade, and then I had to make a decision. A 5'11" guy with a heel-toe vertical. Should I play basketball or should I play hockey? And fortunate for me, I chose hockey. But I look back and how and why a community like Grand Rapids, we won a couple state titles. We were able to have, I believe, 13 Division I hockey players off our 1976 team went on to play college hockey. And why was that? Number one, we had great coaches. Gus Hendrickson, Mike Surdich, Jim Nelson. We had great youth coaches. And the thing that I go back to, what I remember all the time, is we had fun. Hockey was a great sport to play. We spent all of our time on skill development. We didn't do skating drills at the end of practice. We spent all of our time on getting better and better and better. And it paid off when we were at the high school level. It wasn't so caught up in winning at the youth level. When I was a youth player, we never came out of the district, but yet we were able to have success at the high school level. When I've gone around the country and watched, some of my perspective too, I have a son now that's 17 years old, I have another son that's 11 years old, and watching them go through the youth system, a couple of things have struck me. I remember being in Colorado Springs, and they have a big President's Day tournament every year in February. And being a parent, I had to work my shift on a Monday morning because we played on the weekend. And I remember observing a team and a coach. And every time these kids came off the ice, and I think they were about the squirt level, the coaches turned around in their face, screaming at them. And I'm watching this because I'm in the penalty box. And I'm getting more upset as the game goes on. And I'm thinking, should I say something or not? I couldn't take it anymore. At the end of the game, I walked up to the coach, and I told him, I just want you to know, if I had a son, there is no way I would allow him to play for you. And he was kind of taken aback by it. And the following year, he was back at the President's Day tournament, and he came up to me and he said, you know what, I thought a lot about what you said, and you were right. And we have to change some of that attitude from the coach's standpoint that it is a win at all costs. It's not a win at all costs. It needs to be a fun at all costs. I see that. We talk about skill development, practice ratios. Even at our level, I'll bet we spend 75 to 80% of our time at the college level on skill development. Because it still boils down to who can skate, who can stick handle, and who can pass. It doesn't come down to who can play the best systems, who can break out the puck the best. If you can't do things technically, you can't do them tactically. So we have to look at allow kids to handle the puck, allow kids to take risk. I look back at the repetitions that we had as a youth player were formed on an outdoor rink without a coach there. And so you try to move 100 times at the blue line, and if it got stripped from you 90 times and it ended up in your net, all you did is take the puck out of your net and go play again. There was nobody yelling at you, screaming at you, get the puck in deep. Don't make that move, we might lose the game. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. We have to keep the game in perspective, keep it for the kids. That is the most important thing I see. Allow them to get better, teach skills, teach skills, teach skills. Don't be concerned during the year whether you win or lose. Last time I looked, a Pee Wee coach is not going to be up for an NHL job because they were 65-2. From the parent perspective, sitting up and watching, I usually sit off in the corner when I'm at my kids' youth games, and I kind of sit and laugh and chuckle. how into it parents get. It's like their whole self-worth is being determined in Johnny or Jenny at 8 or 9 years old, whether they're going to win or lose the game, whether it's yelling at officials, and we wonder why 50% of the officials quit. I don't know why you'd be an official in this day and age with parents yelling at you all the time. I mean, we have our college meetings every year. I'm sure at the NHL meeting they have their meetings every year, and the same thing's talked about. Officials. These are professionals. They do it for a living. And we get worried about a 14-year-old kid making a bad call in a game. Who cares? Because most kids, when they leave the rink, what are they concerned about? Are they concerned about whether they won or lost? No, they're not. They walk out of the rink, number one, they're more concerned what the snack's going to be. And two, they want to know when they can go play. They're not concerned whether they won or lost. So we have to keep it in perspective. And I always say we should have our kids involved in the great game of hockey because of the social, the physical, allow them to have fun, be a part of a team. Not to be there so I can get a scholarship someday, not to be there so hopefully they can play in the NHL someday. If you're concerned with that, take all that money you're going to spend starting at 7 years old, put it in the bank, invest it. I guarantee you, you will have your scholarship by the time your son or daughter is a senior in high school. So we have to, those are important concepts. The other thing is I get a kick out of 5'7" dad and 5'4" mom, and they think their son is going to be in the National Hockey League. Well, I got news for you. Genetics plays a role. Unless the milkman came over, I don't think your son's going to be 6'3". But this is a great program. It's a great concept. We're sitting with Mark Jorgensen and Kevin Hartzell. It's all about getting the game back to the kids. It has to be fun. When I played sports as a youth, all the sports I played, it was fun. And probably 80 to 90% of the time we played sports, it was without a coach, it was on our own. And that's why that doesn't happen as much today, and it probably never will go back to that era. But as a coach, we have to do that in our practices. Play small games. I watched my son play mite hockey a couple years ago. And I think it should be cross-ice games, small games. You've got 10 mites playing in a rink this size. I said, that's like an adult playing on a football field. Wouldn't be much fun. It's a long way to skate 100 yards downfield. I don't think there'd be much back-checking. Cross-ice hockey, let kids touch the puck, because that's how the game is played. Let's not be concerned about making sure a 7-year-old knows how to line up for a face-off, and when it's their 2-minute shift, and we're going to waste 30 seconds of it making sure they're all aligned. Keep the puck going, let them touch the puck, let them play cross-ice, get them grouped with kids of their own ability so one kid doesn't have the puck for the whole 2 minutes. They all get to touch it because it's a fun game. It's a great game to play. So if we can continue to give the game back to the players, I think we'll have more kids involved. I think we'll have more kids that stay involved and play for a longer period of time and not dropping out at 13 years of age. Because just because a kid's great at 13 doesn't mean that kid's going to be great at 19 or 20. The development comes when they get to be 16, 17, maturity comes into play. So this is a great program. We have to be on board. I think this is an important concept, not only for our state, but hopefully this can spread across the country. So I appreciate you allowing me to be here, and let's have a great season. Let's continue to give the game back to the kids. That's where it belongs. Thank you.